favorites to win the Super Bowl next season now that Gronk's not on New England?
You know, it's so tough to do it before the draft. You know, right? Because but saying that said, who's the best at drafting? It's Belichick. He knows how to work that better than anyone else. So I think we can assume that the Patriots will be in the mix. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm so tempted to take the Browns, Stephen. I want to do it just to give you the business. Just to give you the business. But here's the thing about the Chiefs. They lose Kareem Hunt, but they have Damian Williams, who's quite good. There's uncertainty surrounding Tyreek Hill, who faces legal issues surrounding his kid and the allegations about that, and you know, as it relates to physical abuse, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. But I think there should be a presumption of innocence and assume they have Tyreek Hill. The reason I bring up the draft, Stephen A., is because we don't know what they're going to do in the draft now. They're overhauling the defense, but what if they need to replace Tyreek Hill or feel they need to? What do they do then, right? I'll say this. If they have Tyreek Hill, they're going to use those draft picks on defensive players. They should get better on the defensive side of the ball. I think they should have been in the Super Bowl anyway last year. I like the Chiefs. If instead they use it on a wideout, then they replace Tyreek Hill with an impact player or else add just another offensive weapon. Defense wasn't any good last year anyway, and still I think they should have made the Super Bowl. So either way, I'm taking Kansas City out of the AFC.
That was my choice as well, Max, but I got somebody else that I'm just as interested in as the Chiefs, as the favorites in the AFC, and it would be the Indianapolis Colts. First of all, we saw them improve immensely defensively. We saw what their offensive line was able to do in protecting Andrew Luck. We saw Andrew Luck return onto the scene, throw for over 4,500 yards, throw 39 touchdowns. Yes, we saw him struggle against Kansas City, but I'm thinking about the inclement weather conditions and the lead that Kansas City jumped out to and how they were playing behind the 8 ball. And I'm going to give them a pass for that one game because I think with the exception of that and their slow start, remember, they started out slow, and then they came on strong with Frank Reich over the last 10 or 11 games. They were a juggernaut damn near, okay? I mean, they went to bed, I think, one game against Jacksonville, if I remember correctly, but that was basically about it. So I'm looking at the fact that Mac is running the football. Mac ran the football effectively for them. I'm looking at Andrew Luck and what I expect him to be. We know what T.Y. Hilton could do. You got Justin Houston to come on there. They picked him up in free agency. Funches from Carolina is now there as well. So I'm looking at the combination. You've improved your passing game. You've improved defensively. You still got your offensive line intact. Andrew Luck's got that year back where the rust is no longer a concern. You've got a decent running game as well. And I think, I believe in Frank Reich. He's already proved himself as a Super Bowl caliber coach with what he did as offensive coordinator of Philadelphia, coaching Nick Foles and those boys. I got a lot of faith in this man, and I'm just of the mindset that Indianapolis, I'm not ruling out Kansas City. Please don't get me wrong, because I was going to go that route myself because of Mahomes. But I like Indy. I like Indy a lot, particularly if they can get the road to come through Indy where you playing inside of a dome as opposed to outside conditions in Arrowhead in January.
I always loved me some Andrew Luck. I thought he was going to be an all-time great. It may turn out that he's simply an excellent quarterback for a number of years, not an all-time great. We will see. Time will tell. But what time has told so far, Stephen A., is when you say you give Andrew Luck a pass in the playoffs, I wish he would have made a pass in the playoffs when it counted. They got dismantled. He did nothing. Like, that was a choke job by Andrew Luck. I love Luck. I thought he was going to be big in the playoffs. It didn't happen. That doesn't mean he is a choker or will choke forever, but let's call it what it was. You know, like, was he facing some amazing? Was he facing some amazing defense? He didn't look good, man. When the chips were on the line, he didn't look good.
I think that when you're accustomed to playing, and that's why sometimes I lose faith in some of these quarterbacks that are accustomed to playing in domes, and then all of a sudden you've got to go someplace in inclement weather. Or if you're playing in the Southern California sunshine, and then you got to go to Foxborough.
You're right.
I expect a difference.
But that certainly has an effect. That can have an effect on a guy over time. It's the reason when I look at the Cleveland Browns, after just spending a segment telling you got to crawl before you walk with the Lakers, the Cleveland Browns can make a Super Bowl run this season.
I'm sorry.
This season.
Sorry,
they have impact players on everywhere you look.
Max, what about some veteran leadership? Aren't you nervous about that? These guys haven't done it before.
I'll tell you what, if there's any guy in the NFL who it looks like to me like, could he win a Super Bowl in his second season? it's Baker Mayfield. Look, Andrew Luck gave me that feeling, and then I thought he choked in the playoffs. It could happen to Baker too.
Max.
But I have belief in Baker under pressure. He's always struck me as that kind of cat, and
I'm
he
not
has
even thinking about
playmakers
Baker.
everywhere.
I'm not even thinking about Baker. Baker can ball, Max, and they could still lose. Let me put it to you this way, Max. You know what? When babies are born, forgive me for saying this, damn it, all right? But we're both dads. When babies are born, you don't just put pants on them. They got to wear diapers first. Guess what? The Cleveland Browns, they've been in players since 2002. Can you do
Haven't
something?
had a quarterback.
I mean, a baby
They've
wears
never had a
diapers first.
quarterback.
You don't just put on some Wrangler jeans on them. I mean, come on now.
Wranglers, oh my God.
Let me
I just mentioned that
You
because
let me
Brett
tell you-
Favre.
that metaphor.
I just
Let me tell you for sure.
I'm just looking for the Brett Favre.
Let me tell you for sure.
God.
From
If you
everything
ever
I've
wear
seen
Wranglers, you're dead
from
to me.
everything I've seen from Baker Mayfield, let me tell you for sure who could not care less about what happened before he got there.
Yeah.
Baker
Right.
Mayfield
Yeah.
don't care about how many years
All right.
it was before he got there. He cares
Yeah.
about what's happening
You
right
got to do
now.
something
And right
first.
now,
not
they
gonna
are
be in the
happening.
You got to
Super
do
Bowl?
something first. What?
The Steelers and the Giants.
How you know?
We
How you
don't
know?
need to
How
worry
you know?
about that.
How you know?